massive Fan Expo Dallas. Welcome, Mr. Roger Koenig!
So nice to be here. Well, what can I do for you at this late stage of my life?
Oh, stop it.
Can I answer for you?
You're a spry young man of 35, and I will not hear any distress otherwise.
Oh, I knew there was something I got wrong.
I wanted to start not at the beginning, not where we are now, but in the middle. You released a book in '91 called Chekhov's Enterprise, which was your diary entries and behind-the-scenes notes for making Star Trek the Motion Picture. And I think that was the first thing of yours that I had actually read. You've had a good long career of writing both for stage and screen and in print as well. But the great thing that I found about your memoirs for the Star Trek the Motion Picture was just the incredulous nature of bringing Star Trek to the big screen and watching everybody trying to make a feature-length film from the bones of Trek itself, whether it was Robert Wise trying to wrap his head around working with science fiction that way, or with Dee and Leonard and William in their machinations for that. But I'm curious if there was anything that you left out of that book that you felt like you needed to address maybe in an addendum or anything like that, because the book is very rich, but I'm just curious if you held back anything from those memoirs for the experience.
You know, if I did, I probably wouldn't want to discuss it now.
Okay.
And actually, I don't recall doing that. We didn't have ladies of the night coming in and servicing the actors or anything like that nature. No, I think I told it pretty much as it occurred and as I experienced it. So I thought those occasions they stood out because they gave me a little bit more to do.
We do have a microphone here, by the way, so we'd love to have your questions. Please go ahead and get queued up, because it's about your time here as well as mine, because I will fanboy up here all day long, and not just from Trek, because literally from the episode The Gathering, I was a massive fan of Babylon 5, and your work as Al Bester might have been the most sympathetic psychopathic killer I've ever seen this side of Hannibal Lecter. And your character never made me want to eat anything. So with that in mind, when they were approaching you to come in as a recurring guest star for that, what was your reaction to seeing that script for the first time when they first bring you in as Al?
Oh, well, it was not going to be a recurring character. I mean, you know, I'm going to sound very philosophical for about 12 seconds. Being an actor is a very, very shaky thing. You can get lucky and work and have a reasonably steady income and achieve some recognition and acknowledgement. You can be a terrific actor and never be known outside of your few friendships, people who come to see you in little theater productions. I've seen people like that, you know, on each of those, on each of those circumstances. I was supposed to do an episode of Babylon 5, and I was in Chicago doing a convention, and about 2-3 weeks prior to shooting that, when I suffered a heart attack. It was a drug, and ended up being a quadruple bypass. And one of the first people after my family, I called Joe Straczynski, the creator and producer of Babylon 5, from the hospital room, And I said, Joe, I'm not going to be available. I just had a heart attack. And thank you for the invitation to participate. He says, well, we're going to hold the script. And I thought that was remarkable. I mean, it's really an either you know either that person who says that is your blood relation, or they want you to have an early demise and are going to force you to work when you're still, recuperating from a heart attack. Yeah, I never thought of that just before I said it. Well, anyway, they tried to hold it. They ran out of scripts. Joe was writing all the scripts at that time, literally every week, which is an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing to write a script a week. But they ran out, and he called me to tell me that that they had to go ahead and recast, but they'd find something else. Well, at that juncture, my sense was he did a neat thing. He called me originally. He got me on the show. He let me know that they couldn't wait, and we turn the page and go on to another chapter in my life. But he did. He wrote another script. This time, and I don't even know for a fact that this was the case, but this time it was a part that could recur. I don't know if that was what he had in mind. But when you put it together in this construction, that if I didn't have the heart attack, I wouldn't have gotten to play Bessie. I might not have gotten to do more than one episode of Avalon 5. So instead of one episode, I did a dozen over 5 seasons. I had a wonderful time. I loved working the show. I loved that character. I loved the meat and potatoes of that part. And the people were great. I had everything that I could ask for, other than coming in every week. That's not good reading. The 12 episodes I did, I just had a ball. And it made me feel, it made me feel a little bit more, confident that the approbation that I had received from Star Trek was justified. Because in Star Trek, I was just a background player for the most part. I was there. The accolades that were bestowed on all of us were bestowed on the fact that we belonged to this group, that Star Trek itself was the phenomenon that was so important to people. My contribution was relatively insignificant. And I don't say that out of a false modesty. It just was. What can I tell you? Either that or I have an enormous ego. Because I always felt that I could do more than I was offered. And as a consequence, my sense was that all the applause and the approval and the reinforcement that I received was because I was part of Star Trek, not because of the significant contribution that I had. So I don't know where I was going with that, and I am 85 years old. So